Welcome back. The Simpli Business Advisory and the Stellenbosch Business School Alumni Association will facilitate the Alumni Thought Leadership Networking Panel discussion on the economic impact of oil and gas discovery in Namibia. To give more detail, I'm now joined by the Managing Consultant at Simpli Business Advisory, Mekupi Kambatuku, and the Director of the Stellenbosch Business School, Professor Mark Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I want to start by talking about the rationale behind this networking panel discussion. Mekupi, let's start with you.
So the idea was to ensure that we bring industry experts, stakeholders for the business school. As you rightfully said, the function is being hosted by the business school, by Stellenbosch Business School and the Alumni Association Namibia chapter. We have done a lot of work. Previously, we had last year we had a huge successful function that we held that looked at youth and unemployment. So this year we looked at a different theme, and the theme, as you have rightfully said again, is the discovery of oil and gas within Namibia and the impact it's going to have on us as a nation, right? So what the idea was to bring forth the expert industries, the stakeholders, and interested parties to ensure that we cover ground in discussing different aspects of what the implication is going to be for Namibia as a nation, ensuring that we involve everybody on a national level, how we're going to tackle, how the implication is going to tackle the unemployment rate, the sustainability concerns to look at. So we wanted to make sure that we cover everyone, and we contribute well to the topic at hand. And as we all know, oil and gas discovery has been a very hot topic in Namibia, and the business school, Stellenbosch Business School, does contribute a lot on a bigger platform to the Namibian nation and to how many students have gone through the business school. We were speaking earlier with Prof that we have about 5,000 alumni, both from the business school and the MATIS, the main Stellenbosch University. So that's the rationale behind the event. Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about what role both entities looking to play, in the oil and gas sector in Namibia. Let's start with you, Professor, as a representative of the Stellenbosch Business School.
So for us, as a business school, we think our job's to teach people and to do research, but also to convene a space where people discuss important issues of the day, whether that's in South Africa, African continent, or across the world. So our initial role there is to bring together the key speakers. And as Mekupi says, we have a really powerful alumni here in Namibia, and that includes ministers, corporate leaders, as well as other business people. So bringing those people together to actually discuss the matter brings expertise into the room, but it also brings people who perhaps might be influential in shaping the debates in different parts of society for Namibia, for such a key moment in the country's history.
Mm-hmm. And the role that Simpli Business Advisory would play?
The role that So, me, Mekupi, I'm the chairperson of the Stellenbosch Alumni Association of Namibia, and that's where we are coming from. So this is Stellenbosch Business School event being hosted by the Alumni Association Namibian chapter. That's the role, and the role is that we have had different functions over the years. So the role is to ensure that we engage, as Professor said, to engage the industry experts, to ensure that we bring everyone together. The Alumni Association is guided by the 4 strategic pillars, which is to connect, to engage, to grow the Alumni Association, but also to strengthen the relationship that we have with stakeholders to ensure that as a business school, how do we contribute to the Namibian nation? Because as we very well said, there's 5,000 students that has gone through the Stellenbosch Business School. But then, how does Stellenbosch give back to the Namibian nation? How do we foster relationships? How do we ensure that we grow the alumni by doing different things, engaging the communities and connecting through such monumental events? Mm-hmm.
Professor, would you say that you think, you believe Namibia has the potential to become one of the biggest, producers of oil and gas in Africa?
I think I'd say that really depends on the size of the deposits and the ability and the technologies to extract them. But certainly, it seems that there's a strong basis for them being a very significant basis, significant background and foundations to be a powerful economic and oil producer. I think the most interesting for us in the debate we're going to have on Thursday is also an opportunity for Namibia to have perhaps a new way to extract those resources so that they benefit the whole economy and benefit more people. So there are some countries that have managed to become major oil producers and use that as a way to develop sustainable populations, so invest in young people, invest in education. Other countries perhaps have done that in a way that's benefited a smaller number of people, and with the benefits have been isolated to some, and the costs, for example, in terms of social inequalities or pollution, have been concentrated on others. So I think Namibia has, with discussions like on Wednesday, but also the approach that's been taken with a strong sense of thinking about the corporate governance of such a project, allows to say, well, if it goes ahead and has this potential huge economic impact, that the actual benefits are long-term and sustainable to the population as well as to the economy.
Of course, yes. Mekupi, talk to us about some of the prominent figures that will be deliberating on this point of discussion.
So, as we said earlier, the Alumni Association ensured that we get all the experts from the industry, from different corporations. So, the event will be facilitated by Ms. Vinsha Kluter as the moderator. She is the director of the Institute of Corporate Governance, which also speaks to why we are doing the event. As Prof said, that we need to ensure corporate governance, we need to ensure that there is plans in place in ensuring shared value, shared resources, and just the ensuring the resource management of the whole process. We also going to have the interim managing director of NAMCO, Mr. Shiwana Dinyama. We have the Commissioner of Green Hydrogen, the advisor to the President, Mr. James Nupia. We also have Mr. Hay, who is the Managing Director of Hay. So we have ensured that we cover different aspects from the public to the private, to ensure that we have a broader discussion. Yeah.
Professor, talk to us about how panel discussions on the economic impact of oil and gas on Namibia can address issues such as unemployment amongst the youth.
I think there'll be a couple of impacts on young people and youth. One is there's an opportunity for new skills and new investments in skills that are needed for that kind of work in that sector. And we see elsewhere in the world where that investment happens, that there's sort of spill-offs for other economies and economies around in the local area. So there's a possibility there for new training, new jobs. But I think there's also the possibility that the revenues that come to the country can be used as well to benefit young people in other schemes. We see, for example, in Namibia, as elsewhere where there's high levels of unemployment, that young people suffer because they don't get opportunities to try out new jobs. So they become disenfranchised or demotivated because they cannot find work. So if some of those resources can be used to create schemes to give young people the opportunity to work and to perhaps set up their own entrepreneurship projects, not necessarily linked to oil and gas, but just they benefit from the greater reserves that come into the country. And I think there's a second spin-off that can be beneficial.
Would you like to add on to that, Mekupi?
I think Prof did justice there. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah.
Take us through the program and what viewers can expect on the day.
So the program is fairly short. We are going to kickstart the program at 18 hours, let me say 6 p.m. to speak frankly. It will run until 21. So we have the welcoming of members. We have the event will kickstart exactly at 19 hours, where we will have a presentation from the interim managing director of NAMCO, and then we will have a panel discussion where we just have a discussion about different topics on the discovery and the impact of oil and gas, and then we'll give a chance to the public to engage our speakers, to engage the community on different questions that they may have. Because the idea again is to ensure that how is the Namibian youth represented in these rooms? What are the opportunities that are out there for them? Are they included? What is the shared value from the whole management of resources? And then After the Q&A, we will have a networking, because again, the one of the pillars of the association is to ensure that we network, we engage, and then we foster and grow the alumni further as well, and the impact we have on Namibians as a Stellenbosch Business School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just lastly, a question to both of you. Professor, you can answer first in terms of, what your expected outcome from this discussion would be, and of course how the knowledge gained from it will be shared.
Mm-hmm. So, first of all, it's important to note that this event is a second event we've done about the Namibian economy. Last year we did a high-profile event about youth unemployment, and so we see that as a way of, like I said before, about us bringing together speakers and knowledge and experts to talk about the challenges that economies face and society faces. But those experts then can report back to their own constituencies. So obviously one of our speakers reports directly to the president. So there's a great connection there. One of our speakers is the CEO of NAMCOR. So we're connecting to the right people. But then secondly, the other thing we can do as a business school and as a university is we share that knowledge with our wider public. So we'll put that together in terms of short articles in the press, or short articles on our own formats to go out to our own communities to talk about the knowledge that was shared and the discussions that were had. So we'll be back next year for another one, and then we keep building on that and get a momentum in terms of talking about the key issues affecting the Namibian economy.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Mekupi?
In addition to that, to what Prof said, we have the brief as our media partner. So we are going to do an article that is going to look at the feedback, because again, the university is there for engagement, and also this is going to be, the media is going to be there as a feedback loop. There's lessons to be learned, but I also think I can fairly say that we are open to further discussions, further questions and engagement. So there will be an article and newsletters shared on the Stellenbosch Business School website, and all the other social media platforms. We have a lot of them, which we are also going to share on at the event. So that covers the ground that we have a media partner, and we're going to do articles and questions and engagement to ensure that the event that had the impact as intended, because we really want to engage the Namibian economy, the economical experts, and ensure that everyone is on the table with an understanding that these discoveries are not for the one side or the other side, but it covers everyone, and everyone is welcome to engage. And I think if you look at the experts, they have been very vocal and open to questions and judgment, and they fairly always ensure to say that if you have expertise, if you have business ideas, if you have anything that you would want to contribute, come to the table, right? Engage them. Say this how you want to contribute, and then see how that goes further. So that has been really helpful, and this is one of the events that is going to sort of put a stamp on that to ensure that there is continuous engagement and shared value, and also shared responsibility in ensuring that we are all fairly rewarded and covered in terms of what Namibia has as a vision for Vision 2030. I mean, I've spoken about that a few times, yes.
Thank you so much. Well, it all sounds fantastic. All the best with the planning and the actual event, and thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate your time.
Well, there you have it. Let's take a brief break. We'll be right back after this. Spoke to you to send you the link to YouTube after. Okay, so it's been nice. Dis die eerste ene.
Say please talk to Nina, to James.
James, hi. James, good. Hi, James, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm good. Have you pulled over on the side of the road quickly?
Yeah, sure, okay, I'll pull over.
We don't want to lose you mid-conversation. How far are you from the capital?
No, far. 2 hours, I think.
No, please pull over, please.
All right, I pulled over, my dear.
Thank
I'm
you
all
so
yours.
much. We'll be going on in a few seconds.
Okay, I do have Marco with me in the car, by the way.
No?
You wanted to do like a co-interview?
Not this time around, unfortunately.
All right, Marco, love you so much for that response. It's fine, I'll be online waiting for you to start.
All right.
Are you going to be my interviewer?
Yes, I am.
And what's your name again?
Nina James.
Nina, is it Nina what?